to be here with your Binghamton University Bearcats. Binghamton University and I, through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media and Wake Up Call, have our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership as we are 2+ years into this partnership and telling the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni right here where sports meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Sydney Leitner is here with me, picture in picture, women's cross country, finishing up her time at Binghamton. I'm sad about it. I'm sad that we're here, but she's going on to the next chapter, and sad in the fact that Binghamton doesn't get to feature more awards and opportunities with her as a student athlete there. But happy because now that I know Sid, I have the opportunity, of course, to bring you back as an alum. So first and foremost, Miss Leitner, congratulations on becoming the first ever America East Woman of the Year in Binghamton University history.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, has it hit you yet that no woman that has ever stepped onto the campus of Binghamton and played any sport at any time of 20 plus sports that are there has been named Woman of the Year by the conference, and now you are the torchbearer? You will always be the first, hopefully not the only. Has it hit you yet?
And so I didn't actually know up until David O'Brien posted the graphic and with the caption that I was the first ever to win it. Um, I was talking with my dad and he was like, I don't think I've ever seen it. And I know we've had nominations, which doesn't surprise me, but I didn't want to assume, so I had no idea. Um, so in some ways it hasn't really hit me. In some ways it has. The honor has certainly hit me. That in and of itself, to be nominated initially was incredible, and then to be, I guess, the first winner from Binghamton University was also, yeah, in some ways I think it's finally getting to me. It's catching up.
What does it mean to you when you see Woman of the Year? I mean, to me, it goes. I know they're honoring you as a student athlete and what you've done at Binghamton and in the America East overall. But when I see Man of the Year, Woman of the Year, to me, it's more than one thing. It's more than just simply a sport. What is the essence of Woman of the Year to you now that you've won it?
So I was fortunate enough to give a speech to some of the administrators at a conference they had to congratulate the people of the year. And I guess my answer to that question is kind of the same thing that I said to the administrators, which is that this award reflects more than what we do on the court, on the field, on the track, wherever your place of competition is. And that's something that I'm really grateful for because I think that's what we should be praised for as student athletes is not necessarily just our athletic awards, but what we're able to accomplish as a whole person and as a whole student.
Yeah.
We get to explore so many things as a student athlete. Yes, we get to travel across the world and meet incredible people and see incredible things through our sport, but we're also students. And that's something that I don't think should be forgotten. And we do other things, internships and jobs, and we are more than who we are as an athlete. And I think this award does a very good job at recognizing that, and I'm grateful to have been acknowledged in that way.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I mean, it's a theme of almost every conversation that I've had in many, many months, and really ever since it came out that Binghamton University is a top 10 public Ivy League school, that student matters and student athlete. And I'm constantly having conversations here on the show about NIL and the transfer portal and house settlements and all this stuff that's going on in collegiate athletics and lack of responsibility, accountability, family, sticking together, making it all about the money. And then I take this breath of fresh air when I talk to Binghamton, and it's like, I like my school. I like what I'm learning. I just got an internship that led to a job. So, what does it mean to you to go to a school that values the total person and not just the athlete side of you?
I think nowadays, especially with the ever-changing landscape of the NCAA, there are part of it which I guess now that I've left it, I can just say, um, I am not the biggest fan of where it's heading, as you mentioned, turning the student athlete role into more of an employment. I think that takes away from what we go to college to do, and that is to learn, and that is to explore the professional realm. Yes, getting to prolong our life in our sport is a blessing,
Yeah.
but to feel like we're a market to be grabbed at. Like we're employees that some people don't get compensated for it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not a huge fan of that. So part of why I ended up choosing Binghamton was that I didn't want to get swept up in it. I felt the values of Binghamton and the values of the conference were very much aligned with my own, in that I knew I wanted to do more than just my sport.
Yeah.
And I wanted to feel encouraged to do more than just my sport. And that's part of why I ended up with Coach Acuff, is she granted me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, you didn't want to get swept up in it, and you don't like where it's heading. When you're at Binghamton University, do you feel like by and large across the athletic department that there is this care and appreciation and respect for the world beyond sports? I mean, we've seen championships, we've seen back to back baseball, back to back softball. We have seen people that are qualifying and going to the Olympics. And of course, now we've seen a Woman of the Year and we've seen two Men of the Year in the America East when it comes through Binghamton University. We've been spoiled. We saw a great women's soccer campaign this past season. So, do you think that overall at Binghamton University, there is a passion and a love and a respect for the total student athlete, in your opinion?
Yes, absolutely, without question. Absolutely. Even in talking to athletes outside of competition, because truthfully, I'd be lying if I said I was well versed in other sports. I think soccer is the one I could closest relate to. But as some of my teammates will joke, I'm the furthest thing from an athlete despite being able to run. That's the only thing I'm good at. But I think that's the well-roundedness of our program and the encouragement towards doing other things is it's rather silly, but even in a conversation with other people, you hear them talk about things other than just their sport.
Yeah. And I think it's huge. I mean, I can't tell you how many times here on the show we talk about family, we talk about food, we talk about faith a lot. And I don't know what it is about. I think it's just where Binghamton's located, but y'all got some upstate New York versus New York City, New York versus New Jersey. And I want to know, you said you didn't get swept up in the crazy NCAA stuff going on nationally, but have you gotten swept up in the New York, New Jersey battles that happen in all good fun at Binghamton? Because I can honestly tell you, if I go and I take clips, I have some amazing conversations on teammates that just like to razz each other about, we got the bagels, now we got the bagels, and we got the stuff. No, we have the stuff. So have you been swept up in it?
I will give you another clip then, because one of our, I guess now sophomores, is from New Jersey.
Okay.
And an old teammate who graduated a couple years ago was also from New Jersey. And our team is very much split between upstate New York and Long Island and the city areas. The conversation of who has the best bagels, as a Westchester resident, I hate to concede to Long Island. However, I fear I would get jumped if I went back, having said anything else. I have no problem disrespecting Jersey, Alice. I'm so sorry, but our bagels will trump Jersey bagels any day of the week. Any day of the week. On top, if we're gonna go ranking bagels, I think Staten Island, Long Island, Westchester, Jersey.
Okay.
That's where I stand. And then recently I committed to train with Garden State Track Club, which is Jersey based.
Mm-hmm.
And I did feel a strong sense of I felt like a traitor. I felt like a traitor. I was afraid my dad was going to see, oh, my daughter's running for Jersey as a New Yorker.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can keep her under our roof anymore. So it was rather funny, but I'm lucky to be doing that, and go New York, go Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, what? But it's been for, I mean, I've lived this. If you're from New York and somebody says New Jersey, your first reaction as like a child is, ew. And then it's the same thing if it's New Jersey to New York. What you just said, running for a team in New Jersey, I thought my parents would potentially disown me. We joke about it, but there's a little grain in the joke of, could it happen? So what do you think is this thing between New York and New Jersey? Because it's gone on forever. It never goes away. And it's one of the constants in life. that New Yorkers will get after New Jersey if it's about food, if it's about driving, if it's, I mean, I remember crossing into New Jersey, going over the border of New York to New Jersey, and it was like as soon as I crossed in, the rules of the road changed. The right lane was going fast, the left lane was slow. My entire life made no sense. So
Hmm.
I
I,
saw.
I don't even know if there are rules in Jersey for driving. I don't know if you have to have a license. I don't know if you have to be practiced. I don't know if you have to have 20/20 vision or corrected vision. And a part of this is definitely over dramatic. However, um, I don't know who's worse, Massachusetts or Jersey. I know Massachusetts gets its own nickname for its driving, but I will say I respect the hustle of a New Jersey driver. They know where they're going. I'm just terrified at how they get there as somebody else who's also trying to make it to her final destination. It's
I
very funny.
I've told my New York, New Jersey jokes on this show before. I don't think anybody just had a better set than what you just threw at Jersey. So, to all my Jersey listeners, we love you.
I'm so
We
sorry.
appreciate you. Please support your new runner. But you just said go Knicks, and we just had a big conversation about the Knicks here. So I said Knicks in 6 going into the series. By the
Mhm.
way, if that game happens, currently those tickets, the cheapest ticket to go to game 6 in the Garden, if and when that happens, almost $12,000. So, and those are not floor seats, those are not luxury boxes. That is to sit in a bad seat. I don't even want to say a bad seat. They're not a bad seat in the Garden, but to sit at the top of the Garden, essentially. So, or maybe to sit in Jersey and watch the game. So, my question to you: do the Knicks bounce back? Because 3-1 is a lot different than 2-2. So are the Knicks going to figure this thing out that they let go out of their hands in game 3? Are you concerned? Are you not concerned? Where do you land with the Battle of New York and Texas?
So I'm gonna put a big asterisk before I say anything.
Okay.
I don't follow basketball. Up until I found out the Knicks had made it this far, I didn't have an interest in basketball.
Okay.
The most I know about basketball is genuinely from my guy teammates and a lot of the local ones in the area who will talk about it, and I happen to just be a passerby or an open ear. So a lot of this is very superficial knowledge, if I'm being entirely honest. That being said, I'm a firm believer in carrying momentum forward. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that they lost last night was truly unfortunate, and I'm so sad that I fell asleep before the game ended. Um, they didn't lose by a lot, it looked like. So I guess that's hopefully encouraging. I hope they're able to have the team mentality that says, hey, we didn't get blown out of the water last night. We're still in it. Obviously, I know that the environment at MSG last night was altered due to one reason or another, so that probably played a factor in it. Because the vibes of MSG are just they're world renowned.
Yeah.
And I have hope for them. I think they kind of maybe need a little fire under their belt. They've been on an incredible winning streak, and I think that was only rivaled by a record from the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe they needed this. Maybe they needed a little bit of an ego check going into game 4 and said, "Hey, this isn't going to be handed to us. We
Mm.
didn't get blown out. Let's just keep fighting for it and get game 4, game 5, two more."
I will tell you this, to all the focus on one of the guests that was at Madison Square Garden, who was sitting away from the court, I want to know why no one was complaining that Ben Stiller was making people feel uncomfortable by being courtside. Or the fact that Tracy Morgan or Tina Fey, Spike Lee is part of the fabric of it. Like he's the cement. Like he's there all the time. He's there when they stink, he's there when they don't. But some of these other people coming out of the woodwork, it's just funny how they're like, we've never had a sitting president go to an NBA Finals game, but I don't know how many of these celebrities would have been at any Knicks game this year, some of them, unless the team was winning as much as they would. So all I will say
Yeah,
is, are you more
they are weather
concerned?
fans.
Yeah, so I'm like, are you more concerned about the guy behind the plexiglass that's far away from the court, or are you more concerned about Ben Stiller and Night at the Museum being able to breathe on you? That's right there. So, but I was concerned about the energy. I mean, like all jokes aside, I was
Yeah.
concerned
No,
about the
ser
energy for sure.
Yeah, I truthfully, again, I stay out of that realm. Whoever's
Yeah.
going to be there is going to be there. I think the more fans, the better. If you want to show up and support the Knicks, I'm certainly not going to complain. I don't have the money to go and support it, so if you guys do, go cheer them on. I don't want to hear go Spurs. As long as you're saying go Knicks, I don't care who you are. Um, Yeah, I think that was it. I mean, just to alter the vibes of MSG, no matter for whatever reason, it's one thing or another. And I just want to see them win again.
Yeah.
I don't really care what happens. I just want to see the next one again. I want to see them hoist that trophy up in a couple games. That's it. That's all I care about.
Yeah, and I'm with you on it. You mentioned bagels and you ranked a borough that gets massively disrespected first. You said Staten Island. I asked someone to rank the five boroughs, knowing, being pretty confident that Staten Island is always last. It's always thrown to the side. The Bronx gets love. The BK, Brooklyn gets love. Of course, Manhattan gets love. Queens, the home of Spider Man, gets love. But Staten Island typically gets left off by itself. It's not a real borough to some people, it's far away. So you gave love to Staten Island, which doesn't get it a lot, and you put their bagels top. So for someone who finally gave me a positive list with Staten Island number one, why are their bagels the best? And is this because Yorktown Heights? Is this because of where you hail from? Bring me into why Staten Island is the winner for you.
So I love Westchester bagels. This is no hate to Westchester. I just got some yesterday. I was one of my favorite things that my mom sends up to me in like a care package is bagels, and she'll send up 2 dozen and be like, "Put them in the freezer. Here you go." That being said, my uncle is from Long Island. Sorry, from Staten Island. Now lives on Long Island, and every time we have a family gathering where breakfast is involved, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken, he will drive to Staten Island for his butcher meats and for his bagels. And every time they're so good. I don't know what makes them good. Same thing with like the New York pizza. I don't know what about it. If it's the water, if it's the flour, if it's the freshness because you're getting it from the ports. I
Yeah.
don't know. All I know is I'm not complaining. But that was something that I grew up with my uncle being very passionate about getting the bagels where he's from his home. And then one of my teammates is from Staten Island, so it does kind of feel nice to pay her a little bit of an homage and give Staten Island something positive other than the fact that it's Staten Island.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just they get knocked so much. So
Yeah.
you're you're finishing up obviously your time and this chapter of your life, Binghamton University, as a student athlete, coming to a close. We talked about Woman of the Year. Has it hit you? Has it hit you that when you get an award like that, it's typically going to a senior, and it's saying, it's kind of like that, you know, God bless and Godspeed forward. So how do you kind of live in this moment of what a terrific honor, but also a notifier to you that there is going to be a closing of a chapter and a beginning of a new one?
I think it hit me the hardest when Coach Acuff had I was fortunate to have her introduce me before I got up for the award.
Yeah.
And she referred to my time at Binghamton in the past tense, which in all of my goodbyes, I don't think I've had goodbyes. I've had I'll see you later, I'll see you at Albany, I'll see you at wherever the next meet is. To have somebody so, I guess, openly refer to my career in the past tense made it the most real. And made it very hard to then get up on stage and not, be emotional.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's very interesting, and I think I'm very fortunate to live so close to the university and to be in such good contact and hopefully such good standing with the girls that are still on the team where it wasn't as hard of a goodbye as I was expecting, which I'm very fortunate to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't easy leaving them because my relationship to the team is obviously going to change as an alumni,
Yeah.
but I don't think my connection is going to stray too far, not for a while, not while I know all the girls that are on the team.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? Is that when you're a relationship person and not a transactional person, nothing ever ends, no matter how tough it gets. And to that vein, your teammates, the people that you've been in the trenches with, so to speak, what have these relationships at Binghamton kind of grown into, and how do you how do you kind of see moving forward? I mean, is this family for life?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I remember coming in as a freshman and, be partially being inserted by coach with my training and then partially just inserting myself because that's who I am or was. I always felt connected with the upperclassmen, and that was something that as I rose up in age and then to fortunately to be a captain, that was something that I felt was very important, is that everybody felt connected, regardless of whether or not you're a fifth year, a freshman, a sophomore, whether you're competing or not, whether you're healthy or not. I knew that I felt so welcomed on the team. I didn't want, with obviously within reason, to ever feel any other way.
Yeah.
And I think as a result of that, I've been very fortunate to be very close with all of the girls on the team. I'm very bad at texting, but I've tried to be good about it, especially after graduating. And I don't think there's any one of them that I would hesitate to be like, "How's your summer? I miss you. How's it going? What are you up to? Want to call me while I run?" Even the freshmen, I gave one of them a call a couple weeks ago and was like, "Hey, I'm bored. I'm going for a run. Want to call me?" So they are truly family. They are one of them has a sister who's my age. She was like, "You're like a big sister to me." And if that's not family, I don't know what is.
Well, yeah, and I think, yeah, we have blood, but I think your family, blood or not, becomes the people that you choose and choose you. And you said you're bad at texting, but you're trying to get better. And you said you can call me while I'm running. So text or call, because, and I want to let you know my secret here. I'm trying to get the generations of the future to remember that there was a time that the phone's only purpose was to hear the voices of the people you care about. It wasn't to do 78,000 things.
Mm,
So, will you call? Will you talk on the phone? If you're not a good texter, are you a good caller?
no. I'm
Fair.
still arguably just as bad. I like calling if it's going to be like a brief 2-minute call. Because in all honesty, I'm usually running around between one thing or another. And if I'm not running around, I'm probably sleeping. Um, I I like calling while I run. Texting and running is not very conducive. It doesn't often go well. It usually ends with somebody face down in the dirt or terribly worded text that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Um, I am bad with texting in general because again, running around, it doesn't really help. Like I'm not gonna text and drive. I can't text while I'm asleep. I can't text while I'm baking and have a million other things in my hands, or I'm writing a paper, or I'm studying. So it ends up being that more often, if I can text you, I can also call you unless you're busy. But I think it's important, and given that I've been so bad about it, when I was, excuse me, able to see people in person, not being able to see them in person, I know that if I want to keep these people in my life, I have to make that effort. I have to make that change, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I always tell people this should be a rule of thumb. See them if you can. If you cannot see them in person, call them. If you cannot call them, text them. May texting be your last resort and not your first and only. You talked about baking. I want to say that when you were on the show before that we lived in the world of baking. I think we discussed it. So, what are you baking? What's the best thing you got? And if mom sends you care packages, then I think, I should also have a care package sent to me. So what are you baking? And this is not to make you feel bad. This is to put my parents on alert. People got care packages in college all the time. But
Yeah.
my parents, apparently, who love me dearly, apparently they didn't know that care packages were a possibility or a thing because I watched other people get loved more than me. So my question to you is, if you were to send a care package of your baking, what's in it?
So if I was sending it to my brother, it would probably be banana bread and or brownies.
Okay.
That's his favorite, that's his go-to.
Okay.
Um, if I was sending it to somebody who has more of a, forgive me, Dylan, grown-up palate, I have this recipe from Pinterest, of course. It's white chocolate raspberry cookies. They are so good. They are the perfect summer treat. They are sweet, tangy, fluffy. I make them whenever I can. I've modified the recipe for gluten-free because my boyfriend's gluten-free. Comes out just as good, which usually there's a difference. So I'm glad to say that in this case there's not.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of cakes and cupcakes. They're really fun to make. I got into tiramisu this past semester, which is
Okay.
also surprisingly easy to make because it requires no bake time, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can never go wrong with a homemade vanilla cake. Butter cake is really good. I guess that's more of a southern thing, but it's simple flavor and basically 4 sticks of butter. So I'm sorry to anybody who can't have that much butter, but it's worth it. It's very much worth it.
I can honestly say that you saying Dylan's name and talking about the banana bread, I remember the conversation.
Yep.
So
Not much has changed in that regard. He's still a banana bread fan.
yeah, which is awesome. I feel like you low key also said that your boyfriend's more sophisticated than your brother, but we're not going to go there just because of his cookie tape. We're not going to go there. So we love you, Dylan.
Okay, he can hear through the wall behind me.
Oh, okay, that's all right, Dylan. My best to you. What she said to you was white chocolate raspberry is only for gluten-free people. I think that's what she said. And maybe
I'm pretty sure that's a good paraphrase.
yeah, there we go. I found a way around it. I work in words. So before we jump into rapid fire women's cross country, I want to go back to your time at Binghamton. There's a bunch of things I want to go to, but you've mentioned her multiple times. Your head coach of women's cross country at Binghamton University, Annette Acuff. We've discussed her before. Coach Acuff, the impact she's had on your life on and away from the sporting world.
She was a mom when mine couldn't be there. They are very similar in a lot of ways, which is obviously very enticing for a young athlete and for a young college kid, right? Who wants to go to, I mean, I personally love my mom, so this is maybe more of a me thing, but it was nice to have such a similar energy to be around, especially knowing I was going to be around her a lot for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, she's been so patient with me and my growth, which I am fortunate to say there's been quite a good bit of. She has always been there. She's been patient, she's been supportive, she's been flexible. And in the busy world of college life, that's maybe the best thing I could have ever asked for. She is very good about, especially as I get to be an upperclassman, the communication between the two of us has gotten much more open, much more frequent, much more honest. The feedback has always been there. It's always been honest. I've never questioned what she's thinking, what she's feeling, what her plans are.
Yeah.
We usually end up having the same goals for the year, the semester, the race. And maybe that's from time, maybe that's personality, maybe I just got really lucky. But she has been such an incredible role model and truly just encouraged me to find myself and balance my life as I see fit, knowing that I'm just as committed as I ever was to the team.
Said very well. Sydney Leitner here with us, Bearcat Breakroom, in this exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. You're watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Now Sid gets to sit for a second while I get to say nice things. So as we take a look at this, your running career named after all that you've done with women's cross country in the classroom and, of course, in the sporting world. 2025-26 America East Woman of the Year, as we discussed. The announcement was made earlier on here a few days back, or last week, I should say, at the annual awards dinner at the Mystic Marriott Hotel and Spa. Now, this award, as well as the Man of the Year award, are presented annually to a graduating male and female senior student athlete who has been distinguished with himself and herself throughout their career in college in the areas of academic achievement, athletic excellence, service, and leadership. So as Sydney spoke about before and alluded to in our conversation here this morning, you do not get this award for simply being good in sports. You get it in academic achievement as well as service and leadership, which means a lot to Sydney, as she mentioned, about the total package and not just being an athlete in the student athlete world. Now, Leitner, once again, is the first female athlete in Binghamton University history to be named America East Woman of the Year. There have been two previous Bearcat male athletes who got the America East Man of the Year award as we take a look back in 2017 to Joe Maselli and to 2023 and Jake Restivo. And so I want to go to something that was said here by you. Quote, "This award is such an immense honor as it reflects years of growth, sacrifice, and passion. To be the America East Woman of the Year recognizes more than my accomplishments as an athlete," so you echoed that today, "but those as a student and a rounded personality as well. I'm fortunate to accept this accolade of the America East, and I'm proud to have such a positive reflection on my career at Binghamton University." End quote. You mentioned the word sacrifice. What sacrifice or sacrifices do you feel like you made that had such an impact on your success at Binghamton?
I think I use the word sacrifice because truly I find so many things important, And in order to do it all and to do it as well as I wanted to, sacrifices were going to have to be made. I was going to have to let go, take a deep breath, step away from, reorganize in terms of priorities, multiple aspects of who I am in my career in order to achieve some level of success, similar to what I was striving for. Whether that was spending more time being okay to spend an extra 10 minutes in the training room versus studying, whether that was going to my clinical hours and deciding to be a nursing major, knowing that it might impair my ability to recover and train. Whether that was deciding, hey, some of my classmates are going out for drinks, but I have a meet in a couple days, so I can't go. They are all sacrifices that have been worthwhile, but they were necessary. You can't, unfortunately, I couldn't have it all. I can't go out for drinks and then expect to perform to the best of my level. I can't sacrifice my profession in order for an extra 30 seconds off my 5K, and I can't sacrifice my recovery, my health, and my fitness for 2 extra points on a test. And I think sacrifice is maybe the most appropriate word because I value all of those things. So to give up some of it is a sacrifice.
And when you look at time to study, time to train, time to have a personal and social life, and then time for yourself, do you feel like you have found a way to balance? I don't want to use the word master the balance because I think we're always working at it. But when we look at those four areas, personal, social, student, athlete, how do you feel finishing your career at Binghamton University? How have you found a way to juggle those four things?
I think I've been very fortunate to say that I've found a really good balance given, all the stuff that I've been doing, between interning and jobs and clinical hours and athletes and or athletics and traveling. It's definitely taken time. It definitely took all 4 years to kind of figure it out. I'd say maybe by junior year I had a better grasp on it. But certainly freshman year, I was all over the place. One day I was all in on running, the next I was all in athletics, that one weekend I was all in for like social life. Um, and I mean that's classic freshman, rite of passage. You're allowed to do it. You're allowed to go all in on everything at different times. It's what you do.
Yeah.
I think that I had a lot of fantastic role models that kind of helped me find that way, helped show me what was possible, helped show me balance, helped show me that you can do all that you want. I think the best way that I was able to do that, and I guess the most important lesson that they passed on to me, was don't be afraid to put yourself first.
Yeah. And I think that's huge. And I think it's something that when you put yourself first, people that are taking advantage of you or abusing the privilege of you, they'll get mad, right? And they'll call it selfish. And you have to be able to say it is not selfish to be cognizant of what you need and to take care of those needs that you have. Coach Acuff said some things, and we're going to go to those words. She said, quote, "We are all incredibly proud of Sydney and all of her accomplishments while at Binghamton. She has worked tirelessly as a student athlete and has significantly impacted our programs and department with her leadership. If there was an extra hour in the day, Sydney would find a way to best utilize that time and make an impact. It's been an honor to coach her, and I've truly enjoyed watching her grow and develop into the person and leader she is today." Coach Acuff used the word leader or leadership multiple times. What do her words mean to you?
I think, first of all, I remember sophomore year having the privilege of being nominated as a captain. And as an underclassman, I pretty immediately texted the upperclassman I was nominated with and deferred. I was like, I am an underclassman. I have been here for 2 years. I know very little about the sport and how the team functions. But I do remember the honor that it was to be recognized by ACUF so young
Yeah.
as a leader, and then to carry that forward for all 3 years. Um, Especially on the cross country team, there's 14 of us. Every personality gets its time, gets its light, gets shined on. And I feel very privileged that ACUF saw my personality and saw a leader in that. And I think each of the girls is a leader in their own way. Each personality brings something different. And I think the only thing that differentiates a captain versus anybody else on the team is just their ability to talk to coach. Because at the end of the day, that's one of the most important things that a captain can do for his team is just be an easy bridge, be an easy communicator, be an easy point of contact between coaches and administrators and the team. Um, I'm fortunate to say that I never felt apart or different or more privileged, or the words are escaping me, but basically, I never felt more important than anybody else for being a captain and for being a leader. I just felt like I was another point of contact for coach. And I think that's what it's all about is showing, much like I had role models for myself, is just being a role model for everybody else.
Have you seen the fruit of that in working
Yes.
to be a role model? And you said yes. How have you seen that come to life, that you've bore fruit? Because there's the whole notion of there's trees on the side of the road, and you walk up to a tree, and is the tree have nothing on it? Does it look sick, or is it bearing fruit that if I were to pass it, it could nourish me? How have you been a place for people to come to and have that fruit and have the positive impact that you've had? Where have you seen that happen?
I think that in the underclassmen, it's the most obvious place to see it, especially since those are some of the most formative years of college. Watching the girls come and ask questions, not just to me, but to other people on the team, and ask for advice, ask for guidance, ask for social time, ask for connections. That's something that really means a lot to me. And so at the end of the year, at the end of our awards banquet with Binghamton, we do our senior send off and our senior goodbye. And the juniors say kind words to the seniors, and usually there's some tears shed. And I won't lie, I'm a liability for that now. But I remember one of the juniors saying actually two of them saying how awesome it was to always have somebody that they could talk to. How there was never a time where they felt they couldn't tell me something or ask me something. How when one of them was struggling with an injury, how they never felt alone, how they never felt apart from the team. Hearing them say that without hopefully being under any kind of duress really validated all of the efforts that I had put in to help shape the team into what it is now. And I think it's in fantastic hands for the next many years to come.
Well, and credit to you for that. You know, the care and the nobody could say the things that you just said if you didn't have the genuine care and concern and desire to help people. And this world does not need to lose the art of giving, of paying it forward, and of doing something for someone expecting nothing in return. So before I get to my next point, I just want to take the time, not as a question, but as a statement, to say thank you for doing that.
Thank you for the acknowledgement.
Of course. So now in the classroom, this is how we reflect on Sydney's career. Named the America East Cross Country All Academic Team twice during your career, 2023 and 2025. You were also named the State University of New York SUNY Chancellor's Women's Cross Country Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2024 and 2025. And in April 2025, you were inducted into the National College Athletic Honor Society and graduated last month with a degree in nursing and maintained a 3.64 cumulative GPA. When it comes to women's cross country, you helped to lead Binghamton to the 2023 Women's Cross Country Championships and runner-up finishes at a pair of conference outdoor meets in 23 and 24, as well as the 2024 indoor meet. You are one of only 10 women's cross country runners in America East history to be named first team all-conference 4 times during your career, and also earned all-conference honors in the 10,000 at the 2023 America East Outdoor Championships. I do want to also mention that you were part of Binghamton Student Athlete Advisory Council, SAC, throughout your career and part of the SAC e-board during the past 2 academic years. And then in your sophomore year, starting then, worked 6 to 8 hours per week in the Binghamton Sports Medicine Department. In 2024, you were the recipient of the Orthopedic Associate Scholarship Award. And at the Binghamton University Athletic Awards banquet on May 4th of this year, you were presented with the Jesse Godfrey Award, which is given to a graduating female student athlete for their accomplishments in athletics, academics, and within the community. You have embodied student, athlete, service, paying it forward, care, leadership, humble. There are so many pieces to your time that I'm going to say a few things. One, Binghamton's going to miss you. Two, they don't have to because you're always going to be a part of the family. And three, I'm going to say the most important thing, never dim your light. Keep shining it brighter because, Sydney, you have had an impact on people. You've had an impact when I've had the opportunity to speak with you. I feel honored to know you, and I am so moved by what you did with your major, how you carried that, as well as what you've done in your sport to have the career that you've had and to not have your scholastic side falter or your athletic side falter or just being a human being with a personality and care and desire and having the nature that you have. I can honestly say we're better to know you, and I can just be excited for the next thing that's going to come. But please allow me to be along for the ride and have you come back because I don't want to talk about history. I want to talk about what you do from here. And I just want to let you know that I'm genuinely proud for you. And I'm very grateful that I got to cross paths with somebody who has done so much in such a short amount of time. And I'm excited to see how that light from you is going to shine and affect other people from here.
Thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate it. And absolutely, we will be crossing paths again, especially if Mr. O'Brien has anything to say about it.
So with that being said, rapid fire. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. And you will have
Okay.
the first question, and then I'll ask, and we'll go back and forth for a few. What is your first question?
Sounds like a plan. So we mentioned this kind of right off the bat, initially with the ever-changing landscape of the NCAA. You've mentioned the plethora of athletes that you've gotten the chance to talk to. What is something personality-wise, athletics-wise, or academics-wise, regardless of Binghamton, that you want to see continuously reflected in the athletes that you talk to?
Well, I'm going to say some people have a faith, some people don't. I think at some point in their life, I think God whispers, and I think we expect him to shout. And one of the prayers that I always pray is, God, may we hear your voice, no matter how quiet it is, amongst all the screams. And I can honestly say that his whisper has been loud with Binghamton student athletes. And I never push my faith on anybody. I never force anybody into anything. And I can honestly say, I don't, push it in a conversation unless the student athlete talks about it. And once they do, then, I let the conversation go where it goes. And I can say that I've been moved by that more than anything, that I don't feel alone in a world that can be very cold at times. And I love the faith. I would say I want student athletes to keep the faith, and I've seen that on every level. I've seen it at the College Football Playoff National Championship multiple years, which I love that because it's such a big stage. And I've seen it with Dabo Sweeney at Clemson. We literally had an entire conversation on faith with the multi-time national champion. And so I would say I hope to see that. I hope to see team. I think if we're... I'm media by badge, but not by nature. And I think the media has taken their power and they have done everything they could at an alarming rate to separate this country so that they can control this country. I think that a lot of things that people think nowadays have been distorted, abused, and manipulated by the media. And I pray that the student athlete continues to know that people do care about them. It's not just me, but I am a part of that. And that there is a safe haven. There are people that will not twist your words. There are people that love you. There are people that support you whether you win or lose. And I would just say to the members of the media, shame on what you've done with your power. And I would pray that people continue to think for themselves and work together, and that in a media world that pushes individualism because individuals are easier to control than community, I would say that I hope student athletes continue to value community, to understand that if you transfer every year, you will never have a home. You will be an alum of nothing. If you continue to transfer, you will not get an education and you will not have a future. And if you continue to transfer, you will never know how to face life's problems. So I'm not saying you can't transfer once, and I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense to take a little bit of money for your family or to transfer if you got lied to or it's just a bad situation. I just want student athletes to stop running and start facing, because I promise you, this world has been set up for you to fail. And it's like the devil shaking your hand with a knife behind his back. And I want you to know there are people looking out for you, and I will never let the devil win. So I know it's a long-winded answer, but I mean it.
Absolutely. It's good to know that people still have community.
If community wasn't important and we weren't meant to be social beings, solitary confinement would not be a prison sentence.
I like that.
My question back to you, Sydney. If you took over my show for the day and it was Wake Up Call with Sydney Leitner, who would be your 3 special guests? Could be entertainers, sports, family, anyone. Could be people that passed away. If you could have a show of any 3, who would they be and why?
Hold on. I need to get these questions in advance.
That's why it's called rapid fire.
I know. So I think I'd have to invite Stephen Colbert on air. Now he's got all this free time, it might as well bring him on. I think I'd have to pay it forward with women's cross country. My teammate Vicky Morvanova has the most incredible stories, and I think despite almost 4 years together, there are still things that I'm learning about her. So I want to sit her down in a one-to-one for a good hour and get as much as I can, because I've known you for 3 years. How am I still learning things about you? So if I can get her here for a good hour, that'd be great. And then who else would I have? I'm trying to think of good media personalities. I think Ryan Gosling's very interesting to do with media. I see a lot of his stuff, especially with Project Hail Mary, which
Yeah.
my brother and I just watched recently. Maybe it's just because I just watched it, but I think he'd be really funny to interview, and I honestly have some questions about the movie, so I'd be fine to get those answered.
I honestly think in a world of redundancy, that movie was so great. And I saw it multiple times in the theaters.
I think I've rewatched it twice already. It's fantastic. It's a good balance between like humor and philosophy and science. I had a great time.
It's also taught me that I'd rather speak to a rock alien than some of the humans on this planet. So,
Yes.
so what is your next question for me?
So I'm sitting here next to some of my sillier awards from Binghamton University, namely some of those from my teammates where we do senior superlatives each year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they are before I go forward with this question? Like,
Uh, I don't know them specifically. I know what you're talking about with superlatives, but
yes.
yeah.
If you were to be nominated by your team, your family, your friends, what do you think would be the superlative that they hand you today?
Uh, Most consistent, most loyal, funniest. I would say this about my friends that have become my brothers. They said if you ever get up on a stage and you do your comedy, we will be in the front row and we will laugh. And we agree with you. You're just the only one crazy enough amongst us all to say it out loud. And I said, well, I'm calling all y'all out when I'm on stage. But I can honestly say I trust myself to go into a room of a bunch of stiff people and get them to laugh. I would say my loyalty is important to me because I want it, and you have to give what you want. And I am fiercely loyal. I am loyal until somebody else screws up. It's not I'm loyal until I decide to walk away. If I walk away from you, you've broken my trust. And then and I just had a conversation about that recently. I would say consistent because I consistently show up, and sometimes that's consistently late. A lot of times it is. I'm always trying to do a million things at once, and I am very bad about my timing, but I am working on it. And I would say, I'm going to say something that my friend Lisa said to me that I don't know if I appreciate it. It's probably the greatest award that didn't come with a material. And it was the time that it came. So I was married years ago, and something was wrong. And it was wrong for a long time. And I went to a kid's birthday party. I went to Lisa's son and daughter had a mutual birthday party. She came into town, and we were at my godparents' house. And out of nowhere, Lisa walked up to me, and she said, "You want to know something about you that I find very unique?" And I was like, "Go ahead. I mean, I trust Lisa." And she said, "If we met you when you were 3, or we met you in grammar school, or in high school, or in college, or as the business professional you are today, we would all describe the same person. Do you understand how difficult and almost impossible it is to achieve being you no matter when?" And she said that to me, and I went home that day and found out that I was being cheated on. And I just go back to that moment and I say, man, God was really trying to go, I need you to know who you are, because the world's going to shake you, and I need you to stand firm. And I will never, ever forget the words she said and the timing of her saying, do you know how impossible it is to do what you've done? How rare you are. And at a time where I felt thrown in the garbage, it was prefaced by somebody saying to me, don't you ever lose your value. And I will never forget that. So I will say my consistency, at least to one person, was clear. And I'm grateful for the time that it was said to me, because what should have been one of the worst moments of my life ended up creating a trajectory of me becoming the best version of myself. And I'm grateful to have people in my life that will never, ever let me lose myself.
The timing is incredible, so I'm glad that was able to bring you comfort. I'm sorry that happened.
Oh, listen to me. I will tell people all the time, that woman tripped up and saved my life. My question back to you, if you walked around with a neon sign that flashed above your head all day long, every day, and it was supposed to tell people in one sentence what to expect from interacting with you, what would it say?
See, this is a question I usually ask my friends because I have a hard time introspecting in this way.
Okay.
Because I have like some cheesy answers that I could probably give out. Depending on the time of day, I would probably have to alter the sign. Like at 7 a.m., the sign would be very different than it is at 1 p.m. all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm gonna, in a way, pay myself a compliment here. But compassion found here would probably be the neon sign. Because even if I have to cut a conversation short and apologize for it, I love knowing that I was able to make somebody's day better. And if that's through a hug, if that's through a cup of coffee, if that's through a text that I hopefully make the time to respond to, or a call, I think, and that's part of why I'm going into the profession that I am, that reflects one of the values of who I am at my core.
Well, I can tell you from just having surgery myself to seeing everything my grandparents have gone through, compassion, especially in your field, is we can never have enough of it. And please, please know, on your worst day, let me be Lisa to you. Don't ever stop having compassion found here, because there is never going to be a moment where it's not appreciated, even if it's not said to you or said to you right away. Bedside compassion, big or small, will never, ever, ever lose its value. So thank you for focusing on that, because I can tell you the compassionate people to my grandmother, especially, life-changing. So I'm happy that you're going into a field where you can give that to somebody.
Thank you. And thank you for recognizing the profession as well.
100%, because they deserve the love. Final question you got for me, Sydney. What is it?
Last time we talked a lot about travel and bucket lists and getting to go back. I believe you mentioned Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten to do any of that traveling? And has your list changed at all in terms of bucket lists?
So, I did my Italy thing. I
Sure.
haven't done Spain yet.
Okay.
But my mom surprised me for my birthday last year and said, I am taking you on a cruise. And if you'd like, we will go to Spain and Italy. My mom has never been to Italy. My dad has with me. And I've never been, none of us have been to Spain. So I would say it's coming. I'm excited. My family from Spain still watches and listens to my show, which I am overwhelmingly moved by, to tears. And yeah, so I would say Spain is on the list. Paris more so now is on the list. I would, I've been to a lot of parts of the country, but I would say maybe like a Montana, Wyoming, Utah, maybe go out there because I'm a nature guy. And Hawaii, I mean that remains. Hawaii definitely remains on the list because I just they said there's something about the culture there, like it's just different no matter what island you're from, like it's one big family of a state, and I would love to witness that for myself.
That sounds awesome. Well, I'm excited for your cruise then. Two for one.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. My final
Yeah.
question for you, Sydney. Okay. If you were going to have a movie made about your life, what actress would play Sydney Leitner?
It's actually funny that you ask this. So, my boyfriend and I just watched 10 Things I Hate About You, which is my best friend Logan's favorite movie, and I was appalled that my boyfriend hadn't seen it. So I sat him down and I said, "We're watching this tonight." He found my doppelganger in the movie, which is rather funny because it's from 1999 and I was not born until 2004. But I really did a double take. It was like, wow, that's me. Truthfully, I would love, and her name is evading me, so anybody who's seen New Girl, I'm so sorry. But the actress who plays her, I would love to have her play, partially for the bangs, but in every clip I've ever seen of that show, she just seems like such a good energy and an incredible actress. So I would nominate her, and I definitely do a Google search for her actual name.
So the main character of New Girl?
Yes.
Funny you say that because I just watched the show with someone else for the first time of us watching it together. I love the show, and it has had deep meaning in my life very recently. And her name is Zoe Deschanel.
Thank
So
you.
she is, you're welcome. She is incredible. The show is incredible. And I go to sleep to it because it makes me laugh and it's peaceful and it's very much about community and compassion and all the things we've been talking about today. So, with that being said, how cool of a conversation that starts off honoring you and ends with all of these synchronicities, God incidences, or whatever you want to call them. Sydney Leitner, congratulations to our America East Woman of the Year. And as always, I look forward to the next one.
Thank you. I look forward to the next time our paths cross as well.